I'd like to lie. The car I pulled up in, a necklace you're wearing, even cross our minds. Someday we're gonna think twice. They say it happens like that. How much money we saved up, the time that we gave up, it'll all just be that. I know I'm only human. This moment I wonder what comes next. I just wanna love you. Like it's all I'm living for. Come too close and tell you more. It's been a little less time keeping score.
Welcome everyone to episode 3 of Virtual Congress. This episode is full of awards, scholarships, speakers, and so much more.
Yesterday, members competed in gavel games, fashion review, livestock judging contests, and more. Let's see who our winners are.
Please give a round of applause for these outstanding individuals.
Today, 4-H members had the opportunity to partake in some amazing workshops.
We hope you all enjoyed them. Now we will show the final teaser of the week.
For added comedic relief and Friday's finale.
Well, howdy, everybody. My name's Cowboy Cade, and today we're doing some country time cooking. This morning we're cooking some hash browns, as you can see right here. Make sure to tune in on Friday to see what we can cook together. Yay, yay!
Opportunity. Excuse me, guys. The deadline for Montana 4-H scholarships is April 1st each year. This year, the Montana 4-H Foundation is proud to be giving out 33 scholarships totaling nearly $25,000. Scholarships are for college-aged youth and are given out to worthy 4-Hers and based on the criteria established by the donor. We would like to say thank you to our scholarship donors for their generous support of these future leaders and ask you to join us wherever you are by also saying thank you as we roll the screen. And without further ado, here are the scholarship recipients for the year 2020.
The soft sun began to dance. I felt that winter wind so cold. A man learns who's there for him. Let her face in the walls won't hold. Cause from the road, what remains can only be what's true. If all was lost, it's what I gained. Cause it led me back to you. And from now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. From now on, what's waited till tomorrow starts tonight. And let this promise and we start like an anthem in my heart. From now on. I drink champagne with kings and queens. Politicians praise my name. But those are someone else's dreams. The pitfalls of the man I became. For years and years, I chased their cheeks at the crazy speed of always needing more. But when I stop and see you here, I remember this one. These eyes will not be blinded by the light. And from now on, what's waiting till tomorrow starts tonight? It's gone tonight. And let these promises be done. Like an anthem in my heart. From now on, and we will come back home. Oh, yeah. And we will come back home. And we will come back home. Oh, yeah. And we will come back home. And we will come back home. Oh, yeah. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. And from now on, what's waiting till tomorrow starts tonight. It starts tonight. Let this promise and we start like an anthem in my heart. From now on. The soft sun began to bend. I felt that winter wind blow cold. A man learns who's there for him. Glitter fades and the walls won't hold. 'Cause from them rubble, what remains can only be what's true. If home was lost, it's what I gained, 'cause it led me back to you. And from now on, these eyes will not be blinded by. From now on, what's waiting?
Congratulations to all of our scholarship winners. We all wish you the best of luck with your future, and we know you will go out to do amazing things.
With an abundance of energy and a plethora of interesting sayings, you would have to say that he's pretty cash money. His heart is bigger than his hair, and surprisingly, he actually has some brains underneath those luscious locks.
He has taught us how to live life to the fullest, and his smile will definitely rub off on you. He has become a great friend, and his devotion to service is inspiring. Montana 4-H, we are proud to present to you your 2019-2020 Hood Sliding Foundation representative, Cade Duran.
All right, well, I have to say thank you for that because that was quite the introduction. Now, opportunity. When I think of 4-H, that's the first word that comes to mind. Over the past year, the opportunities I've had through 4-H have been colossal. Earlier this year, 4-H took me halfway across the world to Jeju, South Korea for the Global Youth Leadership Camp. I got to travel with one of my best friends, and I made tons more throughout the journey. A few months later, 4-H rocked my world again by taking me all the way across the nation to Atlanta, Georgia for National 4-H Congress, where I once again got to travel with multiple of my best friends. And seeing as we all spoke the same language, I made even more friends in Atlanta than I had in Jeju. After some hard work and lots of anxious waiting, I got yet another opportunity to serve on the National Design Team, where I was able to meet some of the folks from National Congress I had missed the first time around. On this go, I got to serve on a team and build some real lasting friendships with them too. I'm sharing this with you to emphasize the opportunity that 4-H has to offer. My life has forever been altered by these opportunities, but I couldn't have taken advantage of them if it hadn't been for all of you. 4-H taught me to take advantage of opportunity. 4-H taught me to work hard for what I believe in, and 4-H taught me to work hard for what I want. A couple of years ago, I struggled deeply with my mental health. For a long period of time, I was in a very, very dark place. It was in this dark place where I first discovered the power of 4-H. My dad forced me to go to 4-H Winter Team Camp, where I was introduced to the vigor of Montana 4-Hers. That weekend, I met a different kind of human. I met a real, dedicated, inspired, motivational, determined human. I met a 4-Her. Out of the 30 or so people at that camp, I truly, honestly only remember the names of maybe 4 or 5 of them. But the emotions I experienced that weekend, I will not ever forget. By the time I left after those 2 short days, my life was completely altered. I had a completely new outlook and mindset. That was given to me by 4-Hers. All of you may not have been at that camp, but all of you are here now. Every time I am fortunate enough to attend a 4-H event, whether it's Congress or Rec Lab, Global Camp, or the Lewis and Clark County Fair, I once again recognize that same vigor that all 4-Hers have. Not just vigor, but a superpower, that each and every one of you have it. That superpower is the power of leadership. Now, this is a superpower because not just anyone can do it. Not just anyone can see when their input is productive and needed the way that Danny can. Not everyone can produce completely out-of-the-box ideas and be such a good friend the way that Che is able to. Not everyone can keep a team bound together tightly as friends while still being functional and productive the way that Berkeley can. And certainly not everyone is able to keep vibes so happy and the laughter so high the way that Kara can. The superpower of leadership takes a different form in everyone that possesses it. And as you grow and adapt, so does your superpower. You can see this so easily with the way Lexi can produce 18 well-done documents right out of thin air, while keeping everyone laughing and on task. Or you can study Judy to see a fantastic example of someone that can schedule down to a T and keep completely calm while watching a deadline approach at the speed of a bullet train with a team that hasn't even built the tracks yet. One of the most fine and not to mention hilarious examples of leadership you can ever witness is by watching Brett Schomer have simultaneous conversations with her 10-year-old Lucy, her surrogate 21-year-old Lexi, and the rest of the team, all while entertaining everyone with her crazy comments and chaotic actions, and hustling between conversations with 10 different extension agents and coworkers, and filling out 12 different documents, and finally writing multiple text messages with only minimal hair ripping out. Like I said, every leader is different, but being a leader is what connects us all. The amazing people I shared this year of serving Montana 4-H with are some very impressive leaders, and I am so confident that the 5 amazing young women serving us next year are going to be too. I'm so confident in that belief because I know exactly where these ladies, like all of you, come from. You come from Montana 4-H, and Montana 4-H grows leaders. Many of you have heard my ever so common quote, "I dabble in excellence," and so do all of you, because we all stem from the same seed. That seed is Montana 4-H. 4-Hers, each and every one of you are going to do such great things. You know it, I know it, your mentors and your peers know it. Montana 4-H, don't ever settle for less than greatness, because each and every one of you is more than capable of accomplishing nothing less than pure excellence. Thank you.
Like I should. When in doubt to walk around the neighborhood, feeling blessed, never stressed. Got that sunshine on my Sunday best. Yeah, hey, every day can be a better day despite the challenge. All you gotta do is leave it better than you found it. It's gonna get difficult to stand, but hold your balance. I just say whatever, cause there is no way you're found it. Everyone falls down sometime, but you just gotta know it'll all be fine. It's okay.
Thank you, Cade, for that truly amazing speech. Tonight, I have the privilege to welcome a very special speaker, Dr. Jim Caine. Jim is the author of 14 adventure-based team-building texts, including the award-winning book, Teamwork and Team Play. He is an innovator of more than 36 team-building activities and props, and has presented to more than 1,500 programs in 49 states and 28 countries in the past decade. Please welcome, in the comments, Dr. Jim Caine.
I'm excited about the evening, and it's my first chance to work in a virtual setting like this, and I'm thrilled about it. Hey, I noticed on Tuesday, 2 things happened on Tuesday. People introduced themselves, but they also shared something unusual about them. So I'll give you I bet you didn't know this about me. My grandfather and father and I are that makes me a 3rd generation square dance caller. So it's something we've had in our family for a long time. And I'm going to give you a quick 4-H story that was the beginning of my time in 4-H. And then my job is really kind of fun tonight. My job is to bring a little bit of normalcy back to Montana 4-H this summer and do some of the things that we've done at State Congress before. So my story starts like this. I'm 13 years old. My county extension agent called my mom and said, "Hey, Jim, would you be willing to be a counselor for our junior camp?" I was 13 at the time. Junior camp's like 7, 8, 9-year-olds. And my mom was so cool. She said to the agent, "You would take him for a whole week? Take him." So the next thing I know, I went off to camp and had a really positive experience. Although I think it rained every day that year, but camp was just such a wonderful thing. I got into a whole group of people who were doing a lot of activities and things in 4-H. And for me, it set me on a path for life. And you should know this. Tonight, we're going to do some activities that I've also shared with a couple of corporations. And they pay me big bucks for people that know how to get people and bring them together, even in a virtual setting. So I'm going to ask Dylan, who's doing some of our technology tonight, if I could maybe see a video from a group that's going to participate and has some of the stuff we're going to work with. And what I'd like you to do now is this. I'd like you to stand up wherever you are. I think many of you are in extension offices and rooms where you've got a little bit of space to move. And what I'd like you to do is, with appropriate social distancing and all those things, I'd like you to find a partner and just stand near them for right now. And if any time tonight, I realize that Montana has maybe different guidelines than New York State has for right now. If anything I ask you to do is something that's not comfortable for you or doesn't fit into your idea of what social...
All right, you guys are on.
You be in charge. So here's what I'd like you to do. With a person who's near you, I just want you to take a little stroll. And thanks for the video, Dylan, I can see. I would just like you to take a little stroll with your partner around the room. And as you walk and talk, I'd like the two of you to find 3 things you have in common. And I'd like you to pick interesting things, not just the fact that you live in Montana. I know that's a reasonable connection, but dig deep. See if you can find something that the two of you have in common as you walk and talk together. Ready, go. All right, I'm going to invite you to pause right there where you are. And here's what I'd like you to do. Your group of 2, wheel around and face another group of 2 and tell them what you found out. What did you learn about your partner that you have in common? All right, here's what I'd like you to do next. I'd like you to find a partner that's right in that area and face your partner. So group up, you can keep the one you had or find a new one, but face your partner. And I would like you to look at your partner. And I mean, look at your partner. I want you to study every detail about them. I want you to imagine you're taking a photograph of what they look like right now. How is their hair parted? Can you check and see what their eye color is? Every detail you possibly can about this person. And when you think you have a good photographic image of this person, then I'd like you to stand back to back with your partner. Back to back. And while you're back to back, and you can just turn your back on your partner, I'd like you to change 3 things about yourself. I'd like you to alter your appearance in some way. I'd like you to change 3 things. Your partner is also going to change 3 things. And in a minute, when you're both ready, you can check in with them. And when you're both ready, you can turn around and see if you can discover what's now different about them than before. So change 3 things. Check in with your partner. When you're all ready, turn around and see if you can discover what's now different about them than before. All right. How many of you discovered at least 2 out of the 3 things about your partner? Well, that's a pretty good collection. I've always noticed that when I was in 4-H, people change. It's a great chance in your life as a teenager to grow up, to learn some new skills, definitely some of the leadership components. And I think that friends that I had in 4-H changed with time in a very positive way. Some of them I continue to see in my college days, and they always look back and said that 4-H had been a very inspirational time in their life. So here's what I'd like to do next. We're going to display a graphic here in a second, and you can put that one up if you like, Dylan, the soapbox one. And what I'd like you to do is this. With the partner you just did the change 3 things with, I'd like you to look at this list of questions in the soapbox, and I'd like you to introduce your partner by saying the things that are on there. For example, I'll give you an example here. My name is Jim, and I do prefer to be called Jim. A skill that I have, I mentioned earlier that I call square dances, and that's been fun for me. You can count on me. I'm the guy who has a lot of toys and team building things. So I can usually come to a party and have a great time. So you can count on me to bring the stuff we need to have fun. And what I know now that I didn't know before COVID-19, I know that I can cut my own hair without having it be a total disaster. So turn to your partner and take turns. And in your small groups of 2 or 3 or 4, whatever you have, just share your answers to the soapbox. All right. Well, let's see what we can do next here. If you look around, there's a collection of things that were sent to each of the buildings here, and there should be a deck of cards that look a little bit like this. So I'd like you to grab some of these cards. Grab the whole deck for right now. You can open that up. And what I'd like you to do is have everybody take at least 2 cards, and if there's more left over, you can take 3 or 4. We're not going to be exchanging cards tonight, but I'm going to have you take 2 or 3, and we're going to do a couple of activities that are on these cards. So if you open up the pack, there's a couple of cards that have a white edge. We won't be using those. Just the ones with the blue edge that look a little bit like this that say teamwork and team play. And everybody take at least 2. And if there's some left over, you can take 3 or 4. Now, if you look at the word side of the card, there's a series of activities on there. And way down at the bottom, there's a thing called the big question. And it lists 3 questions. There's a red, a blue, and a green question right at the very bottom. What I'd like you to do in a second here is find a partner, and I'd like you to ask him one of the questions on the card. Your choice. Could be the red, blue, or green one. Doesn't matter which one, it's your choice. They will then ask you a question. And when you're both done, then you can hold your cards up in the air until you find a new partner. We're not going to switch cards tonight, but after you're done, just look at one of the other cards you have, find a new partner, and continue the game. So go, find a partner, ask them one of the 3 questions at the bottom. They'll ask you one, and then move on. All right, keep going. We'll go another minute here. All right, let me ask you to pause right there for a second. We're going to keep the cards. We're going to do one more activity that's on here. Just above the big question, there's a series that says, "Are you more like?" And my card says, for example, "Are you more like books or magazines?" So we're going to play the same format of the game where you ask a partner the question, "Are you more like this or this?" They'll choose, and then they'll ask you one. Then you're going to switch cards and move on. You're going to just switch yourself with your cards. But the goal is to meet everybody in the room in the next 60 seconds. Go fast. Go. Are you more like? The orange question. Keep going. Move fast. Ten seconds. All right. Well played. Hey, would somebody just collect the cards and place them back in the box where they came from? And I'd like the rest of you to come somewhere close to the screen so you can see what's going to happen next. Not yet, Dylan, but soon. Dylan's going to display an image that I'd like you to see. And I need your problem-solving capability. What I realize is you probably have noticed this when you work with your county fairs or at a camp program or another event for H. Sometimes you show up like on a night like this and you can tell some things are out of place. They're not in the right order. Hey, that chair doesn't go there. That chair should be over here. Why are the tables set like this? They should be like this. So there's a certain sequence, if you will, to what you're about to see. And as a group, I'd like you to look at this photograph, and there's a series of objects in this photograph. And I would like you as a group to brainstorm out loud, to help each other to talk, but to see if you can figure out what's the sequence, what's the order of all these things, and what's the right way that they're in the right order. So, Dylan, go ahead and give us a show. So these 13 objects fit in a specific order. Take a minute and analyze the pictures, and then go ahead and talk to each other and see if you can figure out what you think the order is. All right, I'm going to provide a little hint here. I'd like you to think of this as a deck of cards. What's the highest ranking card in a deck of cards? And then work your way down from there. I like the creativity of this activity, and for me, it's just a chance to get your mind working along with your bodies tonight. So let's do kind of a countdown here. We're going to start with the highest card in the deck, which would be the Ace Hardware Store. Which one's the king? Yep, Elvis Presley. Nickname was a queen. It was a king. The next band over on the left side is the rock group Queen. What's after Queen? Ah, the Jack in the lower right. And can you find a 10 somewhere on there? The dime, that'd be 10. 9, the domino. 8. 8's a hard one. Have you found the 8? Let's skip over that one for a minute. Which one would be 7? Oh, the pill container, the days of the week, 7 days a week. Good. 6 is the dice there in the middle. That's 6. 5. Ah, the pentagon. Good. 4. The gear shift. 4 on the floor. 3 would be the electrical plug with 3 pieces. 2 would be the dynamic duo of Batman and Robin. And we already had 1, which was the Ace. So that leaves the album cover from Styx, which is called Pieces of 8. So a little history there for this evening. Somewhere in your stuff, and I'm just going to show this to you, there should be some 3 feathers and a little wooden base with a pocket like this. And this is called a Thunderbird or a Pateca. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put this guy together. I'd like you to look at the bottom of your feathers, and you'll probably discover you have one feather that's bigger than the other one at the base. And if you put that into the hole first, followed by the next biggest one, which is the blue one in my case, and then leave the pointiest feather for last, and that one goes right in the other space. And if you get it just right, you'll have 3 feathers all in the base that look a little bit like this. If they fall out while you're playing, you can just stuck them back in. But again, start with the biggest feather, then another big feather, and then save the pointiest one for last. And if you toss it in the air, it should fly pretty well. So at this point, I'm going to have you stand up, form a circle, and we're going to do a couple of things to get our bodies moving here this evening. Your task is to use just your hands and keep this Pateca up in the air for 21 hits using only your hands. So create a little bit of space for yourself. Move some things out of the way if you need to. Just your hands. Keep it up in the air for 21 hits. Ready? Go. I think you in the office space have a challenge, but good luck. Now don't catch it. Just hit it like a volleyball and keep it going.
Okay, we gotta call it out.
My grandfather would say, if you're having fun, you're doing it right. So don't worry about your score. Just see if you can keep it going the whole time without catching it. Keep it up in the air.
You're the tallest one here.
Pause for a second. Everybody pause for a second. Take a step slightly closer just so you can hear each other. I'd like you to have this conversation, and the conversation is what's working and what's not. So just talk about that. What's working well and what's not working so well right now. Okay, step back out again. And we're going to try a little variation this time. This round, I'd like you to use only your non-dominant hand. Not the hand you write with, but the other hand. So play again. See if you can get the 21 using only your non-dominant hand. All right, good job. Time out. You know, this one-handed thing's kind of weird. I'll bet you'd prefer to have both hands. So this next round, you can use both hands, but only standing on one foot. Okay, time out. This next round, you have both feet on the ground. You can use either hand. But in this next round, after you hit the feathered bird, I'd like you to clap 3 times before you can hit again. So hit and
Wait, you all? Oh, Here.
all right, time out. You're doing really well. Good job so far. So I think the Olympic level of this event, and the Olympic level comes in 2 pieces. In this first round, I would like you to play any way you'd like, hit it however you want, but count by the alphabet, A, B, C, D, all the way to get to Z. When you get to Z, that's the end of round 1. Now, if you drop it on E, just pick it up on F and keep right on going. But in round 2, rather than counting by the alphabet, I want you to count using the name of an animal that begins with that letter. Aardvark, baboon, cat, dog, elephant, fox. You get the idea. So alphabet first, and then count using the names of animals next. Go.
J. L.
M.
You say O?
N.
O.
P. X. Y.
Hey, alphabet. Wait, alligator. Bear.
Oh, cat. Oh.
Dog. Give me the dog.
Elephant.
Bear. What comes after S? G.
Goat. Hare. Fox.
Lion.
Lion?
Okay.
G. Oh, G. Oh, there was.
What comes after? H. No.
Iguana.
We need a better.
Fine.
Verb. Kangaroo.
Oh.
There you go, JK.
Lion.
One more minute.
Monkey. Narwhal. Narwhal. Oh, I okay. A narwhal.
Octopus.
Okay. Time out. Done.
Whale.
I think narwhal is a perfectly good answer.
That's not.
Someone once said for the N they could use nice elephant. Me too. So go ahead and set that Pateca aside. Hey, I know we've been using the same object for everybody. So if you'd like to grab some hand sanitizer or do a quick wash your hands, I'm gonna give you 60 seconds to do that and then come back and form a circle with your group. So if you'd like to get some hand sanitizer after having used a community piece of property, that's fine with me. Or a little soap and water. We'll keep everybody healthy. We'll start again in about 60 seconds. Hey, for this next activity, you're going to need a little bit of open space. So I'd like you to form a circle within your group and make sure there's nothing kind of in the middle of where you're at.
Right.
And I'm going to have Dylan get ready for the first piece of music. Don't start it yet, Dylan, but
What are we doing?
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Catherine.
Love ya.
hey, you have your sounds on. It's nice to be able to hear you guys.
What are we doing? Guys, are we doing music chair?
All right, so in a circle with your hands free. What's going to happen is this. I often get a chance to travel, and I found myself in Toronto, Canada one time, and I was helping out a summer camp program that had a leadership component. And right after breakfast, the entire group gathered in the back of the dining hall in a giant circle like you are now. And I said to the group, I said, what happens now? And they said, oh, it's time for the morning dance party. And I said, well, what's that all about? And they said, so they put a piece of music on, and here's the idea. I'm going to ask one of you in the circle to begin the process of leading the group. So if you do just a simple arm motion or a step like this, the rest of the group is going to follow you and do exactly what you do. And after only like 10 seconds, that person is going to point, and the next person on their left is going to go next, and they're going to lead the group. And so we've got one piece of music. We're going to go around the circle. If we get back to the beginning, we're just going to start again and go around 2 or 3 times. Everybody gets a chance to lead. We get a chance to warm up. and we're ready for what happens next. So Dylan, when you're ready, if you could play the music, and someone volunteer to go first. Okay, pass it to the next. Follow your new leader. Keep going.
She took my arm. I don't know how it happened. We took the phone. She said, oh, together. Just keep your eyes on me. I said, darling. She said, this woman is my destiny.
Keep going. Follow your leader.
A backless dress and some my discotheque, Juliet, teenage dream. I felt it in my chest and she looked at me. I knew we were bound to be together, bound to be together. She took my arm, I don't know how. We took the road, she said, oh, together. Just keep your eyes on me. I said, darling, she said, just say yes to me. Woman is my destiny. She said, just say yes to me. I think I see the future. I realize this is my last chance. I don't know how I love you. Just say, why don't you stand back? Just keep your eyes on me. I said, darling, now just shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, shut up and dance. Don't you stand back. Just keep your eyes on me. I said, darling, now just shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said, shut up and dance with me.
Nicely done. Give yourselves a hand. You guys have awesome energy tonight. Hey, face in the direction of the video where your screen's at. And let's form kind of nice, straight marching band lines here. We'll do a little line dancing here. I love to dance in 4-H. When we would go to our 4-H camp, we had a basketball court. So all of our dances were outside on a summer evening. Being able to see the stars was kind of fun. Right now in New York State, it was 93 degrees here today. So I'm not sure we're dancing outside tonight. But here's what I'd like you to do. Everybody, give yourself up. Spread your hands out like this. So you got a little bit of room near you. Spread out just a bit. So you got a little bit of space. And everybody, we're going to take 4 steps to the right. Here we go. Side step to the right. 2, 3, 4. Stop. Let's take 4 steps to the left. 2, 3, 4. Kick with your right foot. Kick with your left foot. Kick with your right foot. Kick with your left foot. And now turn a quarter towards your left. All right, face forward. That's all there is to it. Dylan, we play a little music for us?
Cupid, new Cupid. Time for a change.
Get ready. Here we go.
We got a brand new dance.
3, 2,
They say I'm a rapper, and I say no. They say what you doing, trying to do somebody cold. I just let the music come from my soul, so all of my people can stay on the floor. They got a brand new dance, you gotta move your muscle. Brand new dance, it's called a Cupid shuffle. It don't matter if you're young or you're old. Here we go. We gonna show you how it goes. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself. Let me see you do the Cupid. Let me see you do the Cupid. Do the shuffle, baby. Now walk it by yourself. Now you see what I'm talking about. Oh, I represent for the dirty South, where we're known for swinging now. King of swing, I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about. Hey, let me see you do the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid Cupid shuffle, the Cupid shuffle, the Cupid Cupid shuffle. Now kick, now come on, baby, kick. Now walk it by yourself. Walk it by yourself. To the right, to the right, to the right, the right, the right. To the left, to the left, to the left, the left, the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Walk it by yourself and do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do the Cupid shuffle. Now let me see you do it. It's your boy Cupid, see you beat a out of D. Mr. Fat on the track, got another getting D. Hey, do you come on, come on. Let me see you do your dance. We got a brand new dance. We got a brand new sound. We got a brand new feel. We got a brand new style.
Nicely done. Hey, Dylan, I want to ask you to put up this slide that has the first impressions activity on it. I'm going to invite you guys to look in the box of cool things we sent you. And there should be a series of papers in there with the word first impressions on them. And I'd like everybody to grab one of these sheets of paper and a pencil or pen if you have one around. And then I'd like you to find a group of 2 or 3. So have a seat someplace comfortable. Gather in groups of 2 or 3, whatever works for you. And everybody should have one of these pieces of paper, every single person. And if you haven't found the piece of paper, you can actually show this PDF on the screen so you'll be able to read what's on there. And here's what the conversation looks like. I would like each of you to look at your partners, and I would like you, it's not a conversation or interview, it's a guessing game. So the first question on the sheet, for example, says, where do you think they were raised? Were they born in the country or in the city, you know, in an urban setting, in the suburbs? And you're going to guess the information on the sheet about your partners. And I I just want to get some feedback. Everybody have a piece of paper or at least one for the group? All right. So go ahead and have at it here. First, you start by guessing, and then when you're done guessing, start to share your answers with your partners and find out how good a guesser you were. And for tonight, I'll just ask you to do the first 4 questions. So just the first 4. And when you finish, then you can share your answers and keep track of how many you got right by guessing right and how many maybe not so much. When you're done guessing, you can share your answers. I'll give you one more minute. All right, nicely done. Hey, time's short. I'm going to invite you to stand. If you each have a piece of paper, bring it with you. If you are shorthanded and you only have one piece, I'd like you to tear it into pieces and give everybody a small piece of the paper. So if you have a whole sheet, that's fine. I'd like you to form a circle, place your piece of paper on the ground, and that's kind of your location. So go ahead and form a circle with your group, standing. And again, if you only have one piece of paper, just tear it into smaller pieces and let everybody stand on one piece of paper, about the size of an index card or so is just fine. But make your circle fairly big and you'll be standing for this one. So this game will play at different speed for each group, but here's what's going to happen. I'm going to invite one person to move their piece of paper into the center. Just one. And then go stand in the center. And the rest of you, I can see from some of the videos, just leave yourself a little bit of space there. Don't be too close. Everybody's currently standing on a piece of paper. I'm going to ask the person in the middle to introduce themselves. If I was there, I'd say, hi, my name is Jim. And I'd like you all to say, hi, Jim. Ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Jim. There we go. So you'll say that to the person in the center. And then the person in the middle is going to say this phrase, have you ever? And the thing that they're about to say is something that's true for them. So, for example, if they were to say, have you ever played high school sports? I want everybody in the group that played high school sports to leave their paper and take a step into the center. Now, without going back to the same piece of the paper, go find a new place to stand. Go. On a new piece of paper. That's the idea. But in this next round, the person that starts in the center is going to try to get one of those pieces of paper, which means you might find yourself in the middle, and then you can share a have you ever. Now, if anybody in the middle shares something, but nobody else has done it, that's worthy of a standing ovation. And you should applaud loudly for that person who's done something so unique. So, person in the middle, introduce yourself, and everybody get ready to move. Have you ever keep going. Now, here's a hint. If you do standing ovation, then try for one that's a little easier, like say, have you ever eaten pizza? And you'll get everybody moving. Keep going. One more minute.
You ever forgotten a polo?
All right. I'm going to ask you right there. Well done. Give yourselves a hand. Nicely played. Hey, look in your box of fun stuff, and you're going to find a piece of flat rope that looks a little bit like this. This is called a piece of webbing or a raccoon circle. There's probably at least one. There might be two of them in there. If there's two, bring them both. And I would like you to divide your group into one or two. And so you have maybe 4 or 5 people in each group or more. If your circle happens to be tied into a knot, untie the knot. And I'd like somebody to start just by holding one end of the rope. All right. For this next part, you might want to come close enough to the video to see what's happening and then go back with your group. So I will demonstrate here in front of the camera. So I'd like to do a little icebreaker here, a little get acquainted, make sure you know everybody who's part of your group tonight. So we're going to do a simple activity called wrapped around my finger, and it goes like this. I'm going to take this flat rope and I'm going to wrap it around my finger as I introduce myself. So I'll tell you a quick story. My name is Jim. I started 4-H as a young person. I'm a 10-year 4-H member from the state of Ohio. I live in the state of New York now, where I went to work for Eastman Kodak that used to make cameras and film, and that was my job as an engineer there. I notice all the people who are winning scholarships tonight to go to college, and I did the same thing in my 4-H in my state. I now travel the world and teach team building, which is a lot of fun. I've been in some fun places like Mongolia. And the idea is I'm going to keep talking about myself as I continue rapping until I'm all finished rapping. And then just roll it out and hand it to the next person. So in small groups of whatever you have, so everybody has a raccoon circle. And if you have two, I'd split it up in your group and let half of the group play with one. But one person, just take the end and start telling us about you as you wrap this around your finger. Go. And when one person's done, just roll it out and pass it on to the next person. Keep going. I'll give you another 2 minutes. All right, well played. Hey, just to keep things moving along here tonight, go ahead and toss those raccoon circles back in the box and look inside the box, and you should be able to find a sheet of paper in there that has the word nursery rhyme headlines on it. What I'd like you to do is get the smart people in your group, form some small groups, 2, 3, 4, whatever you'd like. Dylan's going to broadcast that page onto the video as well, the nursery rhyme headlines. And I'd like you to see if you can figure out as many of these nursery rhyme headlines. There's an example on there for the first one. But see if you can brainstorm with your friends and solve as many as you can. And then we'll come back in a little bit, and we're going to allow the team in the green jackets to tell us what they've learned in this activity. So no pressure there, guys, but get ready. So nursery rhyme headlines, look on the screen or the piece of paper you have, form a group, and work together on this one. Okay, here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to double your brain power. Have your small group join another small group and keep working. Share what you know. See if you can figure out the ones you don't yet have. Okay, we're going to turn this into a statewide thing. You can have someone use the chat feature on tonight's WebEx meeting. And if you have a question or you haven't figured one out, you can type it in the chat and see if other people can help you. Or you can look in there if you happen to know an answer and help out another colony. So use the chat, use all attendees, and type in questions, and I might even help you with a hint or two too. So if you need one, type it in the chat, or if you want to share, that's fine. Just make sure you send to all attendees.
If you guys put it in the chat, we will read it off for you.
Excellent. Or you can turn on your mics and try it that way too.
Does anyone know my offspring sleeps with pants and one shoe?
Diddle
Masters do not.
my son John went to bed with his britches on.
Alrighty.
Madeline Conan asked, which one is this? Sleeping shepherd allows livestock to wander.
It's the, what's one, what did we say? Oh, yeah.
I believe that might have been Bo Peep.
Able to get after we
Monster sheep.
No, it's not on blue. Well, tell them. We can. They can hear us now, can't they? Yes. Yeah. They can.
Oh, okay.
What's 3 violins per phone call?
They should be able to.
Ask.
What is? Yeah. What's the man who lives in the school life for 1 week? Okay.
Okay, what do you got, Ronnie Baker's group?
Speak up.
Anybody else missing one? You want to ask us the group?
Married couple never eat the same food. What's the married couples never eat same food?
Jack Spratt would eat no fat, and his wife would eat no lean.
Okay. Where? Okay. What was our question? Okay.
Ronnie Baker asks, what is the friar oversleeps? Neglects motoring duties.
Frere Jacques. Okay, the hardest one on the entire sheet is the man who lives his whole life in 1 week.
Yes.
Not this. Anybody figure it out?
No.
Okay.
Okay, the man who lives his entire life in 1 week is Solomon Grundy. Born on Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, caught ill Thursday, got worse Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday. So ends the life of Solomon Grundy. You have done well. I would like you to stand, please. Come near the video monitor. I've got a challenge for you. I'd like you to analyze this image. Dylan's going to get ready to put up a still photograph of a red rope. And he's going to show that one now. And I'll explain it once it's on the video screen. What I'd like you to do is look at this mess that's on the floor here, this red rope. Here it comes. And the question is, when we pull the ends of the rope, where the two blue arrows are, if we pull them outward, is this mess going to turn itself into some kind of a knot or into some kind of a straight line? And I'd like you to go with your gut instinct. If you think, oh, that's going to be a knot, then as you're facing the computer screen, I'd like you to move to the right. And if you think it's going to be a straight line, not a knot, I'd like you to move towards the left. So you're still watching the screen. The question is it going to be some kind of a knot on the right, or is it going to be a straight line on the left? And you can just check in with the other people, make sure they're on the same side you're on. You know where you want to be. So here's the challenge. And this is a skill I probably learned at 4-H camp before I learned it anywhere else. Getting a group of people to agree on something. And with campers, we used to have pizza in the cabin sometimes, and they would say, what do you want on your pizza? And getting 12 people to come to a decision on what they want on their pizza was a hard job in consensus. But that's our goal now. Right now, you've got people on both sides of the issue. Some people think it's a knot. Some people think it's a straight line. Here's what I'd like you to do. I would like those of you on the knot side to go find a partner on the other side. You've got 2 minutes to convince them or be convinced by them, because when I say time's up, both of you must go to the same side. So somebody on the left, form a partnership with somebody on the right. Everybody find a partner from the other side. It's okay if you have an uneven number. We'll work it out. But you and a partner who disagree, see if you can come to an agreement just by looking at the picture. All right. So here's what I'd like you to do. Stay with your partner, the one you've been talking to, but now move together to one side or the other. Where do you want to be? Is it going to be a knot? Is it going to be a straight line? I don't care what side you're on as long as you stay with your partner. Oh, I see some people have changed sides. I wonder if you have a majority on one side that has more people on one side than the other. Let me ask you one more question too. How many of you would bet your car keys that you're right? In other words, you're really sure. You're feeling confident about knowing whether it's a knot or a straight line. How many of you, raise your hand, are kind of waffling? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure which way this is going to go. All right. Last chance. I've asked you to stay with your partner. You played by the rules. You did a good job. But if you feel deep in your heart that you really want to be on the other side, I will let you step across and cross over now. But you should go now. If you feel the need to move, you can go ahead and go to the other side. And now I'm going to do one last thing as Dylan's getting the video ready, but not playing it just yet. As we show the video, we're going to actually give you an idea to find out what happens when we pull the rope. It's okay to change sides anytime you like. because as we pull the rope, you're going to get more information. So, Dylan, if you could show the video, and if you'll watch the screen, we're going to freeze that for a second, Dylan. Good. Here it comes. We're going to go. It's okay. Let it pull now, and we'll find out. Is it a knot or a straight line? Dylan, you can hit play. Nice. How many of you got it right? Well, here's the good thing about 4-H. They have that great model about making the best better. Even if you didn't happen to get this one right, you still have a chance to get over to the right side. So feel free to move in that location. All right. We've got just enough time for another activity, and then we're going to kind of wrap things up for this evening. I'm so happy to be here to play with you this evening. Have your hands empty. Drop all your stuff. I'd like you to line up in a column so you have 3, 4, or 5 people. I don't know how many you have in your room. If you only have 5, then a row of 5 is good. If you've got 6, I'd have 2 groups of 3. If you have 8, 2 groups of 4. It's all good. But I'd like you to line up so you're looking at the back of the person in front of you. So you have something like a group of 5, and you're all facing the same direction. You are part of our Olympic bobsled team. And as your coach, I'm going to give you some commands because occasionally I might like to have my athletes change place. If I say, for example, change, I want the person in the front, the number 1 position, to move all the way to the back. So let's practice. Change. The front person walks to the back. Good. Change. Change. And change. So far, so good. There's another command. If I say switch, I would like the person in position 2 and the person in position 3 to trade places. Ready? Switch. Nice. Let's review. Change. That's the front goes to the back. And switch. The current 2 and 3. All right. There's one last command. If I say rotate, everybody turn around and face the other way. Do a 180. Ah, nicely done. You should all be facing the same direction. Let's try that again. Rotate. Change. Switch. Rotate. Switch. Change. And rotate. I mean, there's only 3 commands. How hard can this be? Before we begin, turn to your teammates and say, we can do this. And when I say bobsled's ready, I'd like you to go like this. I'll say bobsled's ready, and you go, whoo, bobsled's ready. Nicely done. Change. Rotate, switch. Change, change, change. Switch, change, switch. Rotate, rotate. And stop right there. All right, now how many of you feel like you're delivering Olympic quality performance right now? Well, here's the good news. And even Olympic athletes know this. When they practice, they get better. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to practice the change, switch, and rotate with your team to help each other be successful. But when you come back, you better bring your A game because I'm going to raise the bar. Okay, you got 2 minutes. Practice. Hi, Ronnie. Hey, Ronnie, you're muted.
Thank you. The kids had to help me and say, Ronnie, you're muted. So I just got the heck out of the way tonight. I knew they could handle it. So thanks. Having fun playing. Appreciate it.
We're almost ready to wrap up, but get ready.
Yeah.
Okay, bobsledders, you've done well. It's time for the semifinals. Please stand in position. Get ready for the next round. Bobsleds, ready. Rotate, switch, change.
Switch, change.
Change, change, rotate, change.
Change, rotate, change.
Switch, change, switch, rotate. And rotate. Give yourselves a hand. Well done, Olympic athletes. Hey, Dylan's going to put up some lyrics to a song. I thought we would sing together. You know, I told you my goal tonight was to bring a little normalcy back to Montana this summer. These are all the things that I love to do. We got a chance to dance. We got a chance to play some games tonight. Come closer. You can see the video monitor because there's some words that are going to be on here. You might have to mute yourselves because it's almost impossible to get people to sing at the same time. But what I like to do is there's a song lyric, Dylan, called More Peace Someday. It's one of the last things I emailed you tonight. And I'm going to have Dylan post that out here. And what I'd like to do is I'll sing you this entire song. And it's the kind of song where every verse we can just add a different phrase in. So I'm going to invite you to sing in your small groups here. And I will feature the lyrics as we go through this. But I really appreciate you playing hard tonight, working together as a group. And you know what? When we come out the other side, people are going to need what 4-Hers know how to do, to create connection and to work together. We're going to need that more than ever. So I'm inspired by connection tonight. And let's do a little singing. So I'll sing, and then I'll join me on the next verse. But go ahead and mute yourselves. And Bandera, I'm sure you're going to be great singers, but it won't be in sync. So if you just mute for now. So let me sing the whole thing, and then you can join me. I'll sing the first round. There'll be more peace someday. There'll be more peace someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more peace someday. Join me. There'll be more peace someday. There'll be more peace someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more peace someday. Let's do love. There'll be more love someday. There'll be more love someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more love someday. Joy. There'll be more joy someday. There'll be more joy someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more joy someday. Let's do hope. There'll be more hope someday. There'll be more hope someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more hope someday. Let's do 4-H. There'll be more 4-H someday. There'll be 4-H someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be 4-H Someday. One more piece. There'll be more peace someday. There'll be more peace someday. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more peace someday. And we're gonna tag it here. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There'll be more peace someday. Thank you, 4-Hers. I love what you do. I hope you have an awesome summer. I hope we all get healthy again, and I hope I see you soon. Thanks so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, Jim, so much
You guys are welcome.
for giving us your time and teaching us leadership skills in 4-H members across the state. Please give a virtual round of applause for Jim once again.
And to you for playing along tonight. Thanks so much.
Thank you guys for joining us once again for the third session of Virtual Congress.
We hope you have enjoyed your time, as well as the previous nights also.
Don't forget to join us tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. for our fourth and final session of Virtual Congress on IGTV. If you could fill out the Virtual Congress reflection, that would be amazing. It's on Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat.
But Kara, it's so late.
Don't worry. It's only 4 questions, and it would be so helpful. Here, we could do it together. All you have to do is go on Snapchat and scan the code that's on your screen.
Can I just say something? I don't have a Snapchat.
That's okay. You could plug that website into Google and you could take it there too.
Did everyone do it?
Once again, as you exit the session, please turn your attention to the video honoring more of Montana 4-H's 2020 seniors.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
We go hide away in daylight. We go undercover, wait up the sun. Got a secret side in plain sight. Where the streets are empty, that's where we run. Everyday people do everyday things, but I can be one of them. I know you hear me now. We are a different kind. We can do anything. We could be heroes. We could be heroes. We could be heroes. We could be Anybody's got the power. They don't see it because they don't understand. Spinning round and round for hours. You every day.
If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton Eye Joe, I'd been married a long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? If it hadn't been for Cotton did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? I've been married long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
You guys are unmuted.
Where did you go? Where did you come from? Cotton Eye Joe? I've been married long time ago. Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Where did you come from? Where did you go? Where did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Say goodnight.
Wait, what time is the thing tomorrow? See, that like dances for him.
Hey, good job, guys.
Thanks.